Welcome back to Legalese 123, where we are covering cases across America. Well, hello and welcome back again to Legalese 123. I'm your host, Missy K. Well, the verdict is in the Brendan Banfield trial. You and I have been covering this together for quite some time. Unfortunately, I was out of town when all this happened and I just got too busy. And now here we are backtracking. But again, we're all in it to learn. And so here we are. So let's go ahead. The jury got this case on the afternoon of Friday, and they rendered their verdict late evening on Monday. Let me just go over the dates really quickly. So they received the case late on January 30th. That is a Friday. They rendered their verdict on February the 2nd. So how long did they go over their testimony and the evidence? I don't know, 14, 15 hours maybe, approximately. Don't hold me accountable. All right, so let's bring it up and then let's go into it. And then also remember, I said I wanted to get the prosecution's discussion. So we're going to go ahead and get that as well. Let me zoom.
Have a verdict? All right. Are you ready for the jury? I understand. You can be seated. Thank you. I understand we have a verdict. Are we ready for the jury?
Yes.
Courtroom at the time of.
Remember, this is Judge Penny. Judge Penny, I forgot what her last name is. She was the judge in the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, and unfortunately, she's going to be retiring. I found her to be very fair and impartial judge. She gave a lot of latitude and leeway to both sides. Just got to make sure all the forms are filled out correctly, because if they aren't, we have a problem.
Juror number 9, you were the foreperson in this case, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and are these the verdicts of the jury?
Yes, it is.
And are they unanimous?
Yes, it is.
In criminal case number FE 2024-666, count 1, we, the jury on the issue, join in the case of the Commonwealth of Virginia versus Brendan Robert Banfield defendant, find the defendant guilty of aggravated murder of Joseph Ryan and Christine Banfield as part of the same act or transaction. Case number FE 2024-666, count 4. We, the jury on the issue, joined in the case of the Commonwealth of Virginia versus Brendan Robert Banfield defendant, find the defendant guilty of aggravated murder of Joseph Ryan within the same 3-year period during which he did also kill and murder Christine Banfield. In case number FE 2024-666, count 5, we, the jury on the issue, joined in the case of the Commonwealth of Virginia versus Brendan Robert Banfield defendant, find the defendant guilty of using a firearm in the commission of a felony. In case number FE 2024-873, count 1, we, the jury on the issue, joined in the case of the Commonwealth of Virginia versus Brendan Robert Banfield defendant, find the defendant guilty of child endangerment.
All right, with either side, like the jury polled?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
Members of the jury, if this is your verdict, please answer yes. If this is not your verdict, please answer no. Juror number 2. Juror number 5.
Yes.
Juror number 9.
Yes.
Juror number 10.
Yes.
Juror number 12.
Yes.
Juror number 19.
Yes.
Juror number 22.
Yes.
Juror number 25.
Yes.
Juror number 28.
Yes.
Juror number 32.
Yes.
Juror number 34.
Yes.
Juror number 37.
Yes.
Thank you.
The court does find that the jury verdict is unanimous at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, this completes your service in this case, and I know I speak for everybody that we thank you in this difficult case for all the time and attention you've taken to it. I do need to go back to the jury room for one more time, and I'll be back there in a few minutes just to talk to you before you leave, okay? All right, so you're excused to the jury room. Thank you.
Well, skippity
Accordance
skip
with the
skip.
jury verdict, I do find you guilty of aggravated murder on count 1 of 2024-666, and also count 4 of 2024-666, and count 5, commission of a felony with a firearm of 2024-666. Also, on count 1 of 873 of child endangerment, I do find you guilty as found by the jury. Do you wish to have a pre-sentence investigation report, Mr. Carroll?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I'll order a pre-sentence investigation report for this case. What date did you want to set this for?
I don't know what dates you would have available.
I could set it for, do you plan to have victim impact statements, I
Yes, ma'am.
assume, and testimony? I mean, I could put it on, well, any day before July 1st.
Understood.
I'm retired then, so let's pick, is April far enough for you, Mr. Carroll?
I may just look at my schedule.
Sure.
Would there be a particular?
April 17th is my sentencing day.
Okay.
Judge, that is the one day in April we would
You
not.
can't do, okay. Well, we can make it a different date in April. I mean, I do have March 20th, but that might be too quick.
And April 17th doesn't work for you? Tom?
No,
No,
but
unfortunately.
if you
We
don't
do-
want to go to, I mean, we could go to May 8th. I have May 8th available. Or I could make it any Friday that you want to go to in April, if that's too far for you, Mr. Carroll.
May 8th is available, Judge. It's only 2 weeks away from April 17th.
Okay, May 8th.
That's fine.
All right, we'll set it for sentencing then on May 8th, and we have the pre-sentence investigation report by that time. And if you need it for a special time, just let me know if we need to move it from the
Yes,
10
ma'am.
o'clock time.
As soon as we've
Okay?
had a chance to speak with
All
the
right.
witnesses and the victims' families.
All right, anything further for this matter at this time?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
All right.
All right. So Mr. Banfield has been convicted. Now we get to go to the statements that the prosecuting team gets to make at the end. Sorry, I thought it was right there, but it's not.
Level stuff, and you saw that. Second thing is to introduce it. Meaning,
Oh my goodness. If I go too forward, it doesn't go enough. If I do too fast, it goes too far. Oh my goodness. I'm terrible at this. There we go.
Okay. Everybody else good? All right.
Are we good?
You're all good? Okay. Sure, not a problem. First of all, guys, I just want to say thank you very much for covering this case dutifully and respectfully. There were obviously a lot of salacious details in this case that caused it to get a lot of attention. But at the end of the day, this case is about two people, two neighbors of ours that were murdered almost 3 years ago here in Fairfax County. We take that very, very seriously. And to start off, I just want to thank the great detectives of the Fairfax County Police Department that put in yeoman's work to get this case here. I also want to thank the people in my office that put in hours during the last couple of years, not least of which are the three people standing behind me, Sylvia Villanueva, Kelly Sprisler, and Jenna Sands. You all saw how complicated this case was. A lot of digital evidence, a lot of forensic evidence, and this team behind me put it together in a way that a jury could understand, and they did it with professionalism and skill, the type that you will only see in a modern prosecutor's office like that we have here in Fairfax County. So at the end of the day, I am very, very pleased that we are able to stand here successfully having gotten justice for Joe Ryan and Christine Banfield. So who has questions?
See, how would you describe someone who would not only carry out these murders, but make up a story like he did and then get on the witness stand and tell it again?
It's monstrous. I mean, that's really what it is. It's monstrous. I mean,
Well, there you go.
We are the safest
Monstrous.
jurisdiction, safest large jurisdiction anywhere in America, meaning we don't have a lot of homicides, but I've been doing this job for a while. And I can tell you that this defendant stood out to me highest above all the other murder cases that we've done in my 6 years here.
Steve, in Juliana's proffer, there were, obviously that was 4 hours long. There was a lot of details. And there was a lot that your office chose maybe not to get into. Talk about what you wanted to highlight for this jury, what you thought was needed to successfully prosecute this case, and maybe some things that you chose not to introduce as evidence.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot in this case. There were a lot of rabbit holes to run down. We knew two things going into this case. The case was about the blood. This case was always going to be in the blood. You heard it right from Jenna's opening statement. This case was about the blood. We knew that before we even charged this case. The second thing is we want it to be surgical. We want it to be in, we want it to be out. We didn't need to go through every single little thing. We didn't want to confuse the jury. We didn't want to burden them, and we didn't want to put them to sleep. What we really wanted is we wanted the high level stuff. And you saw that. You saw us focus on the blood. You saw us use Juliana or have Juliana come up there to give flavor to what happened in that room. And then we used the blood, we used the digital forensics, we used everything else to support that and give flavor to that. So I think we asked for 4 weeks, but as we got into this trial, we realized that we could do it much quicker and much more effectively than if we took all 4.
How important was Juliana's testimony? You have the defense saying she has always maintained backing up Brendan Banfield until the very last minute here, and almost saying that you guys were too tunnel focused. Without Juliana's proffer, I mean, do you think we could have gotten to this result?
I think we can. As a matter of fact, we were planning for it. If you take a look at the timeline of the case, we did not authorize charges against Brendan Banfield until after we got the blood analysis done. That is what we were waiting for. And it wasn't until 2 months after we got the blood and we indicted Brendan for these crimes that Juliana decided to proffer and cooperate with us. So we had planned to go forward with just the blood evidence and everything else. And we felt that even with that, we could have put this case on. Now, of course, as a prosecutor, if you have somebody in the room and they want to proffer, they want to turn state's evidence, you're not going to turn that down. You're going to investigate that. We did that proffer. She told us some things that we had not known. We did check on her story. We felt confident in that story, confident enough to offer her the plea deal that we gave her and put her on the stand as part of our case in chief.
Can I ask Jenna a quick question?
Just briefly.
Yeah,
Steve,
let me get the jury and then I'll.
Did you get an opportunity to talk to Mr. Ryan and Christine's family? What did you say to them?
I had before. I did not get a chance to today, and I'm always very hesitant to speak for the victims' families. I know that it was a very, very emotional day. I imagine that maybe we'll be speaking again in the future, but I hope that this verdict gives them some sense of peace and puts them somewhere on the path towards healing after this tragic homicide.
Jenna, can I ask you a quick question? Sorry.
Sorry.
What's your message to Banfield's daughter?
God, I mean, what do you say to a child in that situation? I don't know if I have a message for her, but I have a hope for her. I have a hope that she spends the rest of her life with people who love her and know that there were people in this world who loved her. And I hope that she always carries that in her heart. Now, Bob, you had a question for Jenna?
Yeah, Jenna.
Yeah, sure.
Take us through the strategy. It was talked about during the trial of arresting her first to get to him.
Sure. Well, there was originally a belief that was born pretty early in the investigation that she was an accomplice of Mr. Banfield's, that there was a plan. As our detectives uncovered more evidence that supported the possibility of the plan, the idea was formed to arrest her based on the evidence that we knew we had, because it would be a successful prosecution, but also with the hope that she would end up seeing the light and coming to us with her story. It was something that we obviously had to wait quite a while for, and to be honest, had given up on at the time that we charged Mr. Banfield. We weren't going to wait anymore. We were providing her with the discovery that she needed to be able to defend herself in her case. And so there was no expectation that she would turn. It was just really happenstance that we were reached out to by her counsel that she was finally ready to talk.
And you
mentioned
had a
in
chance
your
to question him
closing-
face to face.
Sorry, say
What
again.
was that like? You had the chance to question him finally on the stand
I
face to
did.
face. How do you describe him?
I think that everyone has commented on what was so obvious, that he was not truthful, that he was cold, that he behaved oddly in response to questions that should have elicited emotion, that he never spoke of himself as Christine's husband, that he didn't speak lovingly of his wife, that he showed absolutely no human emotion that we expected to see of someone in his position.
You mentioned your closing.
Took the stand, and how do you prepare for?
Sorry.
You mentioned your closing how he wanted to be with Juliana, and hence the possible motive here. Outside of that, is there anything else as far as why he would commit this?
You know, it's really challenging to try to put yourself in someone like Mr. Banfield's mind. And I don't know that I want to try that hard, to be completely honest. I think that he was obviously hoping for a life with Juliana, and he didn't see a way to accomplish that without executing his wife.
Are you surprised that Brendan took the stand? Do you believe that actually
Yes.
helped your case?
Yes, I, having been a defense attorney for years, I think I would have counseled against him taking the stand. But, Mr. Carroll didn't have a lot to work with. And at the end of the day, if his client wanted to testify, he had the absolute right to do so.
What was the thinking behind giving Juliana such a sweetheart deal?
So I wouldn't necessarily describe it as a sweetheart deal. She does face 10 years in prison. That has not yet been determined. It is obviously a reduction, and it is certainly reflective of her cooperation. But in order to encourage her to tell the truth, there had to be something. I think that the agreement that she entered into will hopefully allow for the judge to pass judgment on her in a way that is measurable. It will certainly never account for the lives that she was responsible for taking, but I think that the amount of time that she'll serve will be determined by Judge Ascarati, and I'm sure it will be appropriate.
So she has
Ascarati.
to your recommendation.
Correct. The judge is free to sentence her as she chooses within the statutory limitations.
It's 10 years, even the max is still a gift, right? For someone who's plotted and set up Christine and Joe Ryan. And there's a lot of violence in this murder.
That is absolutely true.
Thank you, Jenna.
Yeah.
I also wanted to add to this. You guys have access to Jen if you have more questions for her. But no, I think it's really, really important that, we don't characterize this as a quote unquote sweetheart deal. This is the work of being a prosecutor. She still is taking accountability for homicides. When you take a look at what the relative culpability is, I think that where we have landed is appropriate. And quite frankly, Juliana, by testifying, answered a lot of questions, not only for us, but for the jury. Let's not forget how important her testimony may have been to some of those jurors. So her still facing up to 10 years in prison is very, very significant and well worth the cost to make sure that Brendan Banfield was convicted for a crime where it is a mandatory life sentence. As the law is written right now, Brendan Banfield will not walk free for the rest of his natural life.
Steve, is there anything else that a lot of times evidence does not get into a trial?
Mm-hmm.
What else should people know about this guy?
Oh, you're right.
That you were not able to present to the jury that had convinced you guys he was guilty.
Well, I hate to disappoint you, but for us, the evidence spoke volumes. We got our evidence in, what we thought was important, and I think that, in many ways, we're proud that we let the evidence speak for itself. So there's not really a lot of things that were outside the purview of the jury that led us to some kind of conclusion about what he did or what he did not do. We take a lot of pride, and we know the police take a lot of pride in following the evidence wherever it leads.
What do you hope Brendan Banfield is sitting in there thinking about right now?
I've always, I've been a prosecutor for, almost 15 years now. And I think about what goes through somebody's mind after they've been found guilty. And, quite frankly, my hope with this is that he realizes he didn't get away with it. And I know that sounds cliche, but I think through the evidence, you can see a lot of things that he set up trying to get away with it, thinking that he was going to beat the system, trying to outsmart everybody. I hope he thinks that. And most of all, though, I hope he thinks about his wife and Joe and about what a heinous thing he did, because that's something that he is rightfully going to have to live with for the rest of his life. Any other? Yes, please.
I was just wondering, we'll reference those
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I'm sorry, were the relatives there also related to Joe?
Or any Ryan relatives?
Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't.
They weren't here today, but they have
They-
been
in the
they have
past.
been in the
Yes,
courtroom.
okay, I just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Steve,
Yeah.
rare to have cameras in the courtroom
Yes.
here in Virginia, particularly in a criminal case. A whole big part of the world watching this.
Yeah.
What do you hope the takeaway is for people who've been watching this incredibly salacious story here in our neighborhood? What do you hope the takeaway is for all these people that have been watching this play out?
Yeah, that's a great question, Drew. I think there are a couple takeaways that I hope they come away with. First of all, trials and this world, it's not Law and Order. It doesn't happen in half an hour. It's not black and white. There's a lot of work that goes into it. There's a lot of nuance. So I want them to understand what this work is. But I think the one thing I want people in this community to take away from is they got to see their justice system in action, right? They don't have to read about it. They get to see it. And I hope what they saw is a modern professional prosecutor's office doing a job with a very, very difficult case. I mean, the forensics, the blood, all of these things are very, very difficult to parse, to talk about, to explain to a jury. And the team behind me, quite frankly, they made it look easy. And I think that really speaks to the level of professionalism, not only in the prosecutor's office, but with the courts generally, as well as the investigation of the county police department, which is top notch.
You have on cameras in the courtroom all the time.
Well, I guess I love it. I honestly, I would not be opposed. We are proud of the work that we do here as the law enforcement apparatus in Fairfax County. We have nothing to hide. I would love everybody to see every one of our trials and see what goes into the decision making. We do almost 20,000 cases a year. And for people to really understand the nuance and how we agonize over a lot of these decisions to try to do justice, I think that would be great for this community to see. Any other questions? No? So, yes.
Sorry. The plan was very out of the normal realm or very extraordinary. Do you ever get any sense as to how this plan came about? Have any? Seriously, that's what most of
Well,
people are asking, right?
I just say it might be glib, but you if you watch the trial, you might have been able to see it. But no, but in all seriousness, no, we just have the evidence, and quite frankly, our job is to follow the evidence. And we heard what Juliana said, we heard what Brendan said. Those are our clues into what happened. But at the end of the day, we presented the evidence to the jury, and we're just very, very pleased that we're able to stand here knowing that we got justice for Joe and Christine.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it, guys.
Okay, I couldn't hear what the last person said, but it didn't sound good. Something about, I don't know. I can't speculate. Just didn't sound good. So there you have it. Brendan Banfield has been found guilty, and Judge Penny is also going to be sentencing Juliana. I forgot what date that is, but we'll look into that, as well as Brendan Banfield. He is going to be scheduled for May the 8th. I'll look really quickly. I think I wrote it in my calendar as to when she is going to be going up. She goes February 20th. So in 10 days, she gets sentenced. So will Judge Penny sentence Juliana to the sweetheart deal of time served and off to Brazil, or will she have to go to jail? That is a great question. And by the way, Judge Penny is retiring. No holds bar for her. She don't have to worry about anything. So let's see what she has to say. Anyways, thank you for watching. This is the end and conclusion. Well, kind of until sentencing, but the justice for Christine Banfield and Joe Ryan has been served. The people who are responsible for it have been found guilty and or when pled, and then we'll just see how it goes from there. Thanks for watching. See you again on the next one. Thanks for watching Legalese 123. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe for more content.